Good morning. I'd like to thank the organizers of the event for inviting us to come and present, and also I'd like to thank you all for taking the time to come to this session. What I'm going to do is I'd like to pull up our speakers first, and then I'm going to give you a quick rundown of where we are in the location-based entertainment sector, and then once our speakers have had a chance to talk about their particular approaches to the market, we'll take some questions, but I also have some questions in my back pocket just in case. So Fabien? Please come up. Ralph? And Virgile, please. I don't think I need the microphone, so I'll just... I'm lucky that I work in one of the most interesting aspects of the entertainment sector. KWP is a consultancy that has focused for the last 30 years in what we call location-based entertainment, what some people call out-of-home entertainment. I'm an ex-Walt Disney Imagineer for my sins, and I've always focused on gamification, the application of interactive narrative to the platform. For any of you that are interested to know more about the market, we publish a newsletter called the Stinger Report that's been going for over 35 years. And if someone comes up to me at an airport or when I'm face down in a pub or a bar and asks me what is the location-based entertainment industry, I have to point out to them that we are the derivation of the theme park industry, of the carnival industry, of the arcade from the 1980s. But fundamentally, nothing has changed from resistors to carnival balls to shooting galleries. We still offer entertainment, not just for individuals, but for groups of people. And with the explosion in virtual reality back in the 90s, when the first phase of virtual reality was used in the market, we saw people taking this cumbersome and difficult technology and making it applicable to entertainment, trying to turn it into an arcade machine. Then we had the next phase of virtual reality, and we saw companies working hard to try and get this awful technology, difficult technology, cumbersome technology to work in location-based. And now, at this latest phase, we have the technology. We have survived COVID, where people were telling me that my industry was going to be dead. We have survived the mess of the consumer VR sector. And now we're at a point where we have the platforms, we have the places to play, and we have the content developers. And this is a golden age for this market. You will see on the show floor here that there are at least 4 or 5 companies that are offering virtual reality shared experiences. And that is the important thing to take away from here. These are shared experiences, not for one person at a time, but for groups of people who can interact socially with themselves as they travel through a virtual experience, a narrative. And from us in the sector, who are looking at the future, we are very concerned that this could be Cinema 2.0. This could be that point where the industries and the experiences converge to a point where audiences are prepared to go again and again to try. Not for the novelty of virtual reality, not for the novelty of mixed reality, but for an experience that is unique and unachievable at home. They can't put their headset on at home and get the same experience with their friends and families. They can't put the headsets on at home and get the same level of fidelity and immersive experience. This is an international industry. We have large numbers of venues opening up internationally. They are offering a virtual experience, and they are now moving towards the next level of engagement. And we're very lucky to have both the hardware and the software application developers on the stage. And I will now hand over, really, it's important that you understand where these platforms come from and how they're being used. And I think Fabien will be able to give you a very good overview of that, please.
Thank you. I'm Fabien BARATI. I'm the CEO, co-founder of Excurio. The company is 20 years old, but around 6-7 years ago, we created a new kind of experience that we call the immersive expeditions. Those are LBE VR experiences, social experiences, where you travel back in time with your friends, your family, in huge free roaming spaces. I have a video here. So we produce content in-house, sorry, and we also develop the technology, the platform, the software that runs this content in the different venues in a very effective way with a high throughput. And I will tell you a bit more about that later. This is just an example of a venue. This one is in Paris, and with a high density way of showing the immersive expeditions. Today there are not 5 but 6 immersive expeditions that we produced, and we license this content and this technology to partners worldwide. Today there are around 30 venues showing one or several of our immersive expeditions. Virgile is one of them. Phi Center is also showing immersive expedition in Canada and Chicago, and it is spreading quite fast. And so we rely on partners, operators to operate in an effective way, qualitative way, this format, those immersive expeditions. And so to do that, they are using the Excurio platform, which is a piece of software. It's a suite of software that is used to create, distribute, and manage location-based VR experience around a unified standard. One of the big important thing around this platform is the throughput we can have with the highest density we achieved in free roaming VR. Another thing is the multi-content way of showing content in a specific space. Multi-content is being able to show multiple content at the same time in the same space. So those people, they can be in Egypt, and other people close to them can be in the 19th century Paris for Tonight with the Impressionists, which is quite unique for not only VR, but entertainment in general. And this is a patented technology. We also allow high versatility with the platform, so we can adapt very easily to any kind of shape and size of venue. And the point here is really to gather the whole ecosystem around a standard. So on the creation part, distribution part, and operation part. And that's it.
Hello everybody, so very pleased to be here. I'm Raphael, and I don't know if I have a presentation. Oh, it's you, yeah.
Yes, let's switch. You don't want to talk, right? Okay, so my name is Virgile MANGIAVILLANO. I am the co-founder of VR Future and Müzeverse. As Fabien just mentioned, we don't, so far, produce content. We don't create the platform, but we, as operator, are using, distributing their content, the content of Excurio, hopefully the content of UNIVRSE soon, and we are operating on a venue using their platform. So I've been talking to Fabien, like first conversation was 3.5 years ago. And the result is to have opened Müzeverse 1 year ago in Istanbul. This is the first permanent VR installation in the whole Middle East and MENA region. This is the first VR museum in the whole region and in Istanbul, based over there. And tomorrow I'm flying to Barcelona to show the content of UNIVRSE called Black Mirror. So that's also a big IP launch that is preparing for the future. So as operator, we are open to discover lots of content, and we're trying to distribute that as much as we can. So Müzeverse is located in the heart of Istanbul. Most of you have visited this amazing city, millions of tourists every year. This is basically facing Sultan Ahmet, Hagia Sophia, Topkapi Palace, right in the heart of the city with a traffic of 55,000 people a day. So a high volume numbers for this venue. It's also one of the unique international landing dock for tourists, where you can land and stamp your passport in the basement of the Galata port. So we have 2,200 square meters over there. We have one floor, -2, totally dedicated to Excurio content and Excurio platform. We're going to talk about this today, but the idea as an operator is not to be limited of, let's say, one studio in terms of content. So as Excurio is signing new agreement with other studios, the idea also is to show, of course, the content of Excurio, which is, that Fabien showed, the Middle Age, the history of the evolution, Notre Dame, or the Impressionists, but also to show content from other studios, because those studios like Phi, which is in this room, or those studios like Fever, are created content that will be integrated to the platform. So as an operator, we have the possibility to add new content, because, of course, the demand of the public is to watch as many content as possible. We currently show 3 contents at the same time, at the same place. All are from Excurio. But in the future, thanks to the interoperability of the platform, we will have the possibility to add other content from other studios and then rotate according to the market, adapt and show what we can. Let's see a video of the gala, because Fabien was in Istanbul last week. So let's have a look what it's happened, because we just opened this venue last week after 1 year of operation in another venue. So let's have a look. So the robot was not a VR experience. So thank you. Very honored to be at the same stage with those 2 leaders of those 2 very innovative and platform, LBE VR platform. And thank you very much. Let's give the floor to Raphael.
Okay, so maybe I will have my presentation, but that's not a big deal. So I'm Raphael. Yeah, let's go for it. So XRoam, I'm leading this platform that is dedicated to location-based VR entertainment. And it has been developed by a studio, Barcelona-based studio that is UNIVRSE. I work for this company since 1 year. And since day one, the idea was to develop this platform, XRoam. And XRoam is dedicated to the democratization of this medium. So high throughput, edutainment, but also entertainment experiences. We launched the solution, the product, since a couple of months now. And we already have something like 10 studios that are producing some content autonomously with the platform. And tomorrow I will have to go to Porto for the first launch of operation that is totally autonomous. So this content has been developed by this studio in 7 weeks. And the operation will be launched tomorrow for 6 months. What we want to develop with this is a unified framework, and we are focusing on immersive VR, but also interactivity, and we want to push a new standard of experiences. So what is XRoam? XRoam is, let's say, a 360-degree solution, both dedicated to the creation of the content, the distribution of the content as well, operation side, and also a certain sense, a certain idea of the user experience as well. As I said, so UNIVRSE has been founded since 3 years ago, I think, or 4 years ago. And so far, we host more than 4 million visitors around the world. We have developed several content with the platform. And also, I want to mention that right now, as I said, there is several studios that are using actively the platform to develop some new experiences. And it's growing fast, faster than what I imagined. So we are quite excited about this. We are developing a catalog of experiences with XRoam, both developed by UNIVRSE, but also external studios that are using the platform. And we will launch this experience, the Black Mirror VR experience. So it's more or less the first VR experience, location-based one, based on a big license. You can find some arcade VR games like Sandbox that develop games, mainly multi-user, collaborative games. But this Black Mirror experience will be launched early next year. And it's like a new type of experiences, a blend between VR, AI. So it will be something quite different. And yes, I'm fast, but I want to leave some space for the conversation. So if you have any question, you can contact me with this QR code. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Quick but concise. So there you have it. An industry that exists, multiple facilities, using virtual reality technology, and it gets absolutely no coverage in the VR consumer media. Part of the reason for that is that most of the coverage of VR technology, if it is being publicized, is paid for. Where we in the industry, we actually want the customers to come and use the products rather than just talk about the products that we're hoping to develop. And you have seen that the foundation that is being created in the location-based entertainment sector for mixed reality and for virtual reality is not just about the technology, but it is about the experiences. Other companies that we could have brought up to the stage today have facilities, 70 facilities, 100 facilities, 50 facilities, all offering location-based entertainment to repeat visitors. Now we're at the stage where we have the hardware. We're now at the stage where we're also going to have the platforms, and the future is content. We are a content industry, not a hype industry and not an ego industry. We are here to entertain an audience. And really, from the positioning of where these gentlemen are in the market, it tells us that the platform is now going to be available for other companies, other software developers to populate. But anyway, I'm going to throw a couple of questions at the gentlemen, and if you have any questions later on, please put your hand up and we'll pass them on. But the first question I have to ask you guys is, where do you get your hardware from?
I can start. So when we started 3 years ago, there were, even before that, for free roaming VR, when we worked on the project called The Enemy. How long was that? A long time ago, Chloe. Yeah, with Lucid Realities.
10.
Yeah, we were using the second version of the Oculus Rift at the time with motion capture tracking, which was really heavy and really complicated to duplicate. So we were very happy when there were other solutions coming. The first one that were really usable for our specific use case was the Focus 3 from HTC, which is still heavily in use.
Yes.
Now, Pico is also another big player in the field. Meta is also working, even if it's a bit more complicated. But I think that's for our use case right now. This is the hardware that we can use.
Raphael?
Yeah. So I would say that the best way to proceed, in my opinion, is to be agnostic in terms of hardware first. And then, so as Fabien mentioned, before it was a bit heavy in terms of hardware because there was like tracking system. This is the basic stuff because you need to track the position of each visitor in the space to avoid any bump between visitors. Then visitors, they are embodied by avatars, virtual avatars inside of the virtual world, and then you can guarantee the safety. So before it was several technology provider, several hardware, it was very complex. And now we have some devices from HTC, from Pico, that are very valuable, very stable as well. And there is a tracking system that is integrated inside of the headsets. So it's getting easier to operate something like that. And for now, for example, Meta devices, they are not compatible with this type of setup. It's a bit of shame, in my opinion, because they are developing good devices, but they are focusing on home VR. And us, we are focusing out of home VR. So there is a lot of specification, needs, and we can see that Pico and HTC are focusing on this type of thing, and they are sharing some tools that are very useful for us.
It's important to understand that, you know, some companies think that to enter the location-based entertainment industry, you go down to your local electronics store, you buy a couple of Meta Quest headsets or whatever is available, and you just throw them into the facility and everything will be fantastic. Service, support, hygiene, all of the key issues that people forget, and all of the knives that get stabbed into the back of an operator. Virgile, from your point of view, you're benefited from the pain and the anguish that these two individuals have had to go through for the last few years. How do you apply yourself regarding the hardware for your facility?
Yeah, it's at the same time we benefit, and at the same time as well, I wouldn't say it's a burden, but it's a challenge because our mission is to sell their platform, the content on their platform. Our mission is to make the business profitable. So we have this challenge to generate revenue, as we have with Excurio a revenue shared business model, and that's important to precise because this is how it becomes interesting for them, for us at the end of the day, everyone can generate profit and everyone can continue to survive. And in this sector, this is kind of rare, let's be frank, among each other. So regarding the hardware, we don't really have any, we have a position, we have an opinion, we don't choose. So Excurio and UNIVRSE are choosing the hardware, but of course we are pushing them to choose the one that is maybe the cheapest with an equivalent quality, as it is important for us to maximize and optimize our costs. So currently we are using HTC Focus 3 because it was the only one validated by Excurio. Soon Pico will be validated. And I would like to precise also that the equipment is a big challenge for operators in emerging markets, because at the moment in time, most of the operators are, let's say, in developed countries, if I may say that. But we are, with Brazil, the only two emerging countries offering massive LBE VR exploitation. So the import of the equipment is a big challenge in Turkey in terms of costs, in terms of custom regulations. And that's not only the case in Turkey, it's also the case in Brazil, it's also the case in other countries. So that's a big challenge, the equipment, the import, the cost, yes.
The cost. But the most important part here is that we're not talking about 1 or 2 or 3 people at a time using virtual reality. We're talking about large, multiple player experiences that charge a ticket price for the 20, 30 or 40 minute experiences that is much higher than can be achieved from any of the earlier approaches to entertainment. And that kind of pivots me to my last question regarding content. I'm going to be nasty. What is your most popular content? What is the one game or the one genre that is really finding favor with your audiences?
The most successful content we produce so far is Horizon of Khufu, which is also the oldest one, the one that was shown the most right now. It's about Egypt, and so the theme is really a universal interest for everyone in the world. So that's one thing. The second one is Life Chronicles, which is not the oldest one, but the second oldest. So it shows also that they need the content. They need to have their life, their own life, and by expanding the network and also thanks to the multi-content functionality, it's possible for content to live for an indefinite time, and so be able to have a big return on investment over time.
Repeat visitation, people wanting to use it again.
Also that, yes.
Okay. Fabien.
Let me answer this question on a more high level way. So us, we are focusing on 2 verticals in terms of content strategy. First, the edutainment side, so this blend between educational topic and some fun inside of it. Now we know that there is an audience for this type of content, family, universal, worldwide, so it makes a lot of sense. You can learn very easily with this type of experiences, so we know that there is an audience for this thanks to operators. And we are also focusing on pure entertainment experiences, multi-user one as well. We want to offer to the audience unique experiences, so it means that you will be the hero of your experience and you will live a unique experience. We also want to develop some content that give you a sense of freedom, and we also want to use AI to develop some new, very specific interaction, like conversational NPC, so you can talk with some characters inside of the experience. And the idea is to develop something like replayability or something like that. And also trying to focus on experiences with several ends. several sequences, complex architecture, but make it easy for user. Because we know that people that come to enjoy this type of experiences, they are not gamers, right? So it has to be very accessible and simple. And also in terms of operation, I mean, before, I had the opportunity to produce arcade VR games, you know, interactive, very high level of collaboration. But before hosting the player inside of the space, you have to explain the rules. It takes a lot of time. But with these experiences, the idea is to host visitor, you know, on a constant flow. And it has to be very natural in terms of interaction, in terms of use. So no explanation. And then when you dive inside of the virtual world, everything is accessible, logical, easy for any type of audiences. I think this is the goal.
You're noticing here that we're not really talking about games, but we're talking about experiences, adventures, a level of engagement that is not just applying to the people who want to blast zombies, nothing wrong with blasting zombies, but we are talking about an audience out there that wants to see virtual reality achieve the promise of true immersion, true experience. Now, Virgile, you're at the coalface. You have to deal with these people. What do you see from your customers? What is the popularity from the contents they're seeing?
Yes, I think we can say that we create, I mean, we together now, we created a concept called EdTech and Culture Tech at the same time. So a fusion of Culture Tech and EdTech. And I have a very good example for that. We are very proud to have a branch dedicated to education in our company. And the idea is to, because the content is educational, it's a learning tool. So the idea for us was to, we tried to make some agreement with some companies in Istanbul to bring schools from primary school to high school to universities. And finally, we started to be successful since a few months, and we have like around 200 to 300 students a day coming to Müzeverse. So it's like around 5,000 students per month, and we are very proud of that because this is also very important to bring young generation to those venues. So you can imagine we have simultaneously 100 students experiencing life chronicles, experiencing ancient Egypt or the Middle Age. And before that, we had lots of meetings and lots of preparation with the Ministry of Education in Turkey. So we brought lots of decision makers, lots of heads of schools in order to make it happening, and it happens. So the B2B is mainly school-oriented and educational-oriented. And the B2C is for us, and that's, I think, specific maybe to our region or to our business or to our segment that we develop through digital marketing, is a family business. So we have, in the weekend we opened 1 week ago, we were sold out this weekend. We had 2,000 people coming to Müzeverse on Saturday and Sunday. So it's mainly families with kids from 8 years old to 75. And so yes, mainly family business, and that's how we see each other for different reasons. And of course, we want to develop other segments, but for now, yes, that's how we are facing the population.
What's the average ticket price?
Very good question. We started last year because that's another challenge for emerging markets. We have a local currency, and there are some Turkish people they can confirm that, a local currency that is devaluating very fast. So compared to euros and dollars, one price change all the time. So when we started to open Müzeverse 1 year ago, it was 24 euros. Now we open a new venue, a prestigious venue, and it's 22 euros full tickets, 18 for families and students and older people and groups. And we are doing also another very specific price for group, which is between 10 euros for the public school and 12 euros for the private school.
So that's kind of tells you the average price point we're going, about twice as much as a going to the cinema equivalent?
In France, actually, it's a very good question. In France, and that we had a long discussion, they are doing 3 times to the cinema. In Turkey, we are more, 2 times. So some people say we are too cheap, so we have to increase. We don't know. We are testing the market.
Don't worry about the cheapness. Just give them a package where they can build up on. But, sir, you have a question.
Yeah, I have 2 quick questions. One is mostly for Fabien. When you have multiple games or multiple experiences, played in the same environment, how do you manage the collisions between the actors and the representation of people who are in another game? And the second thing is in terms of technique, is everything computed on standalone headsets, or do you envisage or apply streaming of any sort?
To manage the flow of visitors, it's a lot of different things to be able to, I mean, not bumping into each other is quite easy because you have avatars for everyone in the venues, and so like in real life, when you see someone in front of you, you won't bump into each other. But
that's the point. Does that mean that if I am in the Egypt game and the other one is in the Jurassic Park game, you still see the people in the other game in your?
Yes, you do. Okay. You see someone.
This is the whole point about this technology.
And added to that, there is a lot of functionalities to guide the visitors efficiently and to make sure that the density of visitors is not too high at certain places in the space. So it's a lot of things behind that. For the second question, in terms of streaming, so everything is working inside the headset. We don't use streaming. We'd like to use streaming, but the Wi-Fi or even 5G is not capable of having the bandwidth for that many people in those space. So more than 100 people, it's not feasible with the current technology or wireless technology.
Hello, hi again for everyone. So I have 3 quick questions for 3 gentlemen as well. The first one is, is there any average turn rate, or let's say that churn rate of users? Is there any standard for this industry as a visitor? How many times, or are they repeatedly watch the same content or come again for different content? What is the rate of their return? This is the first question. And the second question is, from the perspective of the investor, is there also an average rate for an industry, the return of the investments in means of years? Can you also able to give information about it for maybe some possible operators or some people would like to invest in this business? Can you also give this as well, information if it's possible? And the third question is, last one, for the studios, of course, what is the preparation of the contents? How many months or year? So this is my last question. Thank you.
You forgot to ask for the credit card details. Raphael.
I think it's more an operation question. I can talk a bit about the way we share knowledge with studios and producers. And I can also talk a bit about case studies, because right now we have several studios that are building some content with the platform. So it's quite impressive, because before, you know, I was lucky enough to work with Fabien, to work with several studios that are specialized in the field. And I mean, 1 year, 2 years ago, it was complex to develop. It's a lot of time. The main pain point, I would say, is about finding the money to produce, and then be sure that you will access to end user and that you will gain some return of investment, right? So that's a pity, but I think that the business question is major. And thanks to operators, we are accessing to end users. And maybe we can talk a bit about the percentage of users and the repartition of users.
Well, regarding the investments, Yes. Regarding investment, we are of course looking for new investors. So if you're interested, let's change indeed the credit card details. Yeah, this is a challenge because indeed you make a big investment in terms of infrastructure. You make a big investment in terms of equipment. Let's say some practical numbers because an HTC Focus 3 costs around 1,500 euros in France or in Spain. It costs 2,300 euros in Turkey. So it's almost a double. Thank you very much for the taxation, importation, transport, lots of things. And I think it's the same challenge in a lot of countries. It's not only in Turkey. Okay, especially. So that's why we're also talking to the government to kind of reduce the import taxes and to create some projects with them. It's not simple, but we are in the right path to go to that direction. So yes, it's a big risk. It is a big risk. But thanks to the business model that is created, and that's, I had this discussion with Eric from FI and from other operators and other, content owners, because what we cannot do is take the risk of the investment for the infrastructure, the equipment, and the risk of the license. That's something that we refuse all the time, and that's going to be a challenge with Black Mirror, because paying, let's say, upfront a fee of 100,000 euros or 200,000 euros to own the IP, to have the right to distribute the content in Turkey is something that we cannot do because reimbursing $200,000 will take a long time due to the devaluation. So this is something that we cannot do. We cannot take this risk. What we do is having, let's say, a sharing risk situation with Excurio, and that we would like to do with all content owners, basically, which is to share the net sales. And what's happening is that, let's say very concretely, at the end of the month, we share a report, and we share, according to the sales report, we share a percentage with the content provider. And that's, of course, diminish the risk of the devaluation of the local currency, and that doesn't force us to make an upfront payment, which is not feasible for us.
Very quickly to answer your question, it's 30% churn, and the exact number of the money that you can make back is, you need to ask a consultant. 30% churn. We're over time, but I can see a hand up. Can we have one more question? Is that okay?
So maybe last question, and after that I will just, the speakers are here, so don't hesitate to ask them all the questions you like. It's like the best occasion. Okay, so who's got the last question?
Gentleman at the back there.
Yeah, okay, yes.
Hi, thanks for the great panel. As you mentioned, content is king, and I have a question around platform and current fragmentation. And I'd like to see how people on the panel, and you, Kevin, as well, see the evolution of this industry in the sense of standards, and whether or not we'll see some kind of standard platform that will evolve, or official standards that are adopted that allows content created by Excurio to run on the UNIVRSE platform, or vice versa, or if one platform out of all these will win and dominate everything, or if we'll just see venues using different platforms.
Very quickly, who makes that projector up there that's putting the image onto the back of the stage? That projector right there. No one cares. They only care about the quality of the image. And so we are getting very close to the point where a platform will be created using whatever headset you want, whatever computing platform you want, whatever real-world engine you want to use for the physics. And this is why we're very close now, where the content will be utilized through a unique and shareable content platform. It means that we have to get these gentlemen in a room and get them drunk a lot more, and we need to massage them, and they need to see the revenues coming in, but we are getting very close to one ring to rule them all. Please, John.
And maybe, because it's really like, so maybe in this time, I will welcome you to ask the question directly. We'll really need to
grab us outside.
It's very sorry. Thank you a warm welcome. Really, thank you very much.